I'm standing in the square of what used to be Wittenberg University. This is the same university where the good doctor Martin Luther was the chair of theology. Luther lived just next door to the university, and I thought this would be a good time to remind you that on October 31st, 1517, Luther walked from his home past the university to the castle church and nailed his 95 Theses to the door at Wittenberg. Because of some enthusiastic university students and the newly invented Gutenberg press, Luther's document became an overnight success with both the academic community and the general public. It didn't take long for his document to make it all the way to Rome. And when Pope Leo X first read it, he said it was written by a drunken German monk, and when he sobers up, he'll change his mind. Well, Pope Leo could not have been more wrong. He tried to ignore the controversy, but after 3 months, he realized he had to do something. And so he appointed a commission of inquiry under a Dominican scholar named Sylvester Mazzolini, a professor of theology. Mazzolini did not know what he was getting into. He wrote a rebuttal against Luther's thesis, but Luther simply dismissed it. He republished it with an introduction and called it a haughty Italian, typical school of Thomas Aquinas material. So Mazzolini wrote another paper against Luther, and Luther did the same thing. He republished it, and he advised Mazzolini not to make himself any more ridiculous by continuing to write. Typical Luther. At this point, the Pope had no more tolerance for the drunken monk, and he summoned Luther to Rome to recant his heresy. And Leo X also demanded something else. He demanded Frederick the Wise, the elector in charge of Wittenberg, where Luther was the professor at this university, that he delivered up his child of the devil immediately. Frederick the Wise, however, he was quite impressed with his new monk, his new professor of theology, Martin Luther. So he took up Luther's cause and he arranged an interview with a papal representative at a diet in Augsburg. He also obtained a promise of kind treatment and safety. Well, the interview didn't go well. The papal legate was Cardinal Cajetan, and when he asked Luther to recant, Luther told him he wanted to speak directly to Pope Leo X. He explained to Cardinal Cajetan that if Peter was rebuked by Paul and was thus not infallible, then surely Peter's successor was not infallible either. Well, Cajetan was furious. He told Luther never to enter his presence again unless he changed his views. Cajetan also told Luther's superiors to convert Luther and called him a deep-eyed German beast with strange speculations. Luther was forced to flee by night from Augsburg. Surprisingly, though, the Pope did not excommunicate Luther after this meeting. Instead, 2 additional acts of diplomacy were offered to reconcile the tension not only between Luther's theology and the Catholic Church, but interestingly, between Rome and Germany. The first was through a gift delivered by Karl von Miltz to Frederick the Wise, Luther's prince and protector. Frederick saw right through it and saw it as nothing more than a bribe, and the attempt failed. The second was a debate with the Catholic theologian Johann Eck. The debate with Eck marked the complete separation of Luther from Catholicism. During the debate, he had officially denied the infallibility of the Pope and the General Council of the Church. That in itself was the straw that broke the camel's back. And on June 15, 1520, Pope Leo X officially excommunicated Martin Luther. He issued a papal bull called Exsurgitio Domini and demanded all princes, all magistrates, and all citizens to seize Luther and his followers, to turn them over to the Pope, burn all of his writings and all that he was involved with. And he gave Luther 60 days to repent and recant or be cut off from the church and burnt as a heretic. He was summoned to appear before the Diet of Worms for his final hearing. For that, we'll travel to the beautiful city of Worms to hear the rest of the story.